Undead are ubiquitous in Dungeons & Dragons, and today we're going to be looking at the tactics that 8 of the most common undead in D&D use. Skeletons, zombies, ghouls, revenants, shadows, wights, specters, and wraiths. And the goal here is to help you make your next encounter or adventure with undead a truly terrifying, and yet still fun, experience for your players. Number 1, skeletons. These bad boys come in with an intelligence of 6, meaning that they are not completely mindless and unthinking. Rather, more like a barbarian that has hit his head a few too many times. They're crude, but not complete idiots. They will use straightforward tactics in combat first, charging in and attacking, but if that isn't working, they might try something different as long as it isn't too complex. Skeletons are usually following orders from their creators, so what orders have their creators given them? Is the creator present and observing the area magically and giving the skeletons very specific orders, perhaps telepathically? If so, even these rather dumb undead might act more intelligently than the characters might expect. However, they can only follow orders of a certain degree of complexity. Now, skeletons do retain behaviors and characteristics they had in life. A skeleton who was a miner might attack with a two-handed pick. Skeletons who were nobles might take up dancing when they were idle. Skeletons dancing, woo, and then they attack you. It'd be a cool little scene. Think about what the skeletons were before they died and were created, in order to introduce some interesting situations in your game and add variety and spice to what might otherwise be a stale encounter with some skeletons. Number 2, zombies. With an intelligence of 3, they are basically mindless servants of destruction. Like skeletons, they are usually controlled by their creator, so you have some similar options of having the creator directly instructing them, which might make them appear slightly more intelligent than they actually are, but with some hard limits. If the characters have set up a choke point, the zombies could be instructed to flank them. However, if the characters have set up an obstacle, zombies just aren't smart enough to dismantle that obstacle, even if they're ordered to do so. No, they're going to smash through it with brute force. Now, the zombies' undead fortitude trait makes them exceptionally hard to kill. While this is neat, the really cool part of it is how it allows you, as the dungeon master, to create some amazing descriptions for your players. Amp up the suspense and dread of monsters that just won't go down. The barbarian hacks at the zombie, lops its arm off, and it keeps coming. The rogue puts 2 arrows in its eyes. It can't even see, and now it's flailing blindly with the one hand. It just won't die. It won't go down, and the players have to give way as that zombie horde keeps on coming. Number 3, ghouls and ghasts. They have an intelligence of 7, and they are motivated by hunger. Roleplay that, baby. Roleplay that hunger. Ghouls swarm down on the players, and as their characters are fighting and holding them off, one of the characters goes down. The ghouls, ravenous with hunger, grab that character by the ankles and drag him off to the side. 2 of the ghouls begin feasting immediately on his body. Good luck with those death saving throws, and the other ghouls continue attacking the characters. And now the characters gotta decide what they do, because hey, their buddy is getting eaten alive. Well, not going to be alive for much longer. Now, ghouls, being not completely stupid, might just flee if a couple of them have died, regroup, and ambush the party later. Remember that ghouls' attacks can paralyze non-elven characters, and since ghouls are motivated to feed and have some semblance of intelligence, they would totally go after characters that are more vulnerable. I could see a pack of ghouls attacking, and then as soon as one character becomes paralyzed, all the nearby ghouls team up on that character, knowing it is easier prey. Your players might complain about that, but I'm just role-playing the monsters. That's what you can tell them. Now, ghasts are special ghouls with an intelligence of 11, and they are known to command packs of ghouls. I would consider including a ghast with every pack of ghouls and having it barking out commands to its ghoul underlings. It's time to feed! Attack! See that one in the back with the blue robes and no armor? Easy target. Go get him!
Drag that one off into the next room and throw him in the pit. We'll feed on him later.
Number 4, Revenants. These are very intelligent undead with a desire for revenge. A group might come across a Revenant and just be in the way, but it's much cooler if the Revenant is after one of the party members for some reason or another. This could be something they did in a previous adventure, such as killing an innocent shopkeeper, or it could be a bad guy coming back for revenge, or maybe it's something from a character's backstory. Doing something like this will make the encounter extra special. Just be sure to have the Revenant reveal this information so the players and their characters know. Now, since Revenants can speak the languages they knew in life, that's not really a problem. This could be as simple as having them taunt the characters as they move in for the kill.
Do you remember me? Do you remember what you did to me and my family?
And they don't have to be alone either. Revenants aren't dumb. Especially if they know the characters, they'll know they probably need help. So they'll recruit other undead or perhaps even living creatures to help them. Use a Revenant's rejuvenation trait to make for a cool reoccurring villain. This is a question I often get. Luke, how do you have reoccurring villains? Well, you could use a Revenant. I would space out the occurrences so that it doesn't get too frustrating for your players though. But a Revenant that keeps coming back every so often for another try at revenge will give your players an interesting challenge to overcome. Likely, it will result in them trying to figure out how to make the Revenant stay dead. Dead. Now, I suggest allowing there to be other solutions besides the wish spell, however, because it is something that is going to be beyond the reach of most D&D groups. And if the group does have access to wish, well, a CR5 Revenant is a trivial annoyance, so they're probably not going to find one anyway. Unless you beef it up. You can always beef it up. Now, one of the cool things about undead is that before they became undead, they were something else first. Of course, Luke, of course. So you could take something like a giant or a displacer beast and turn them into a ghoul or a shadow or a vampire. I mean, how awesome. However, as awesome as that would actually be, the core rules don't provide any guidance on how to do that. And that's why my team and I have created undead templates that you can use. With our templates, you can take pretty much any creature, apply the template, and get a monster with characteristics of its base form plus the undead that it turned into. So you could turn a giant into a vampire, a displacer beast into a shadow, a beholder into a wraith, and so on. Wouldn't that be a cool twist for an adventure? A colony of frost giant vampires or a beholder wraith set on converting the living into its specter servants. Our turning undead templates are available now in the October issue of Lair magazine, Heroes and Horror. There are templates for ghouls, mummies, revenants, shadows, skeletons, specters, vampires, wraiths, wraths, and zombies. All of the basic undead. Now, in addition to the undead templates, you're also going to get 10 new undead monsters, the level 3 through 5 adventure arc, an Undead Angel's Fury, standalone encounters with the undead, and a bunch of traps you can drag and drop into your adventures. It's October, right? Halloween, and Halloween one-shots are coming up, so let's just throw some crazy undead at them. It's almost like we planned this stuff. When you become a DM Lair patron in October or November this year at the $15 tier, you'll instantly get access to these undead templates and everything else in the October issue of Lair magazine. And if you're watching this video in December or after, you can grab back issues of Lair magazine on the DM Lair store. There are links to everything down below, of course. Number 5, Shadows. Now these are a low challenge rating undead, they're just CR 1/2, but they have a reputation for being extremely dangerous. Their strength drain attack, which deals damage and reduces the target's strength score by 1d4, can lead to a death spiral, killing the target at 0 hit points and turning it into another shadow. So you might not need these tips, but I'm gonna give them to you anyway. First, use the Shadow's Amorphous and Shadow Stealth traits to get the jump on characters and be super cagey, hard to hit, and hard to find. Shadows should always attack in dim light or darkness and squeeze out from cracks in the wall, floor, or ceiling. There is a high chance of them catching the party by surprise when they do this, so you might rule that all characters with a passive perception lower than 14 are surprised, since a Shadow's passive stealth score is 14. And then the Shadows get a bunch of free attacks. Which they probably don't need, but we're gonna do it anyway. Now, during its turn, Shadows are going to attack with their strength drain, use their bonus action to hide, thus becoming unseen or invisible to many of the characters, and then they can use their Amorphous ability to slip through a crack where they can't be targeted. Imagine the terror of the characters and their players as the Shadows slip out of the cracks, attack, hide, granting invisibility, and then retreat back into the cracks. And you just rinse and repeat that every round. Of course, your players can ready actions to attack them and stuff, but you know, they're gonna have to weather a round or two before they probably think of that. Now, Shadows hate creatures that are untainted by evil, so they're probably almost certainly going to focus fire on good characters in the group. Now this might just be the paladin or cleric who usually have high armor classes, but since shadows don't have super high intelligence, only a 6, they are likely to just keep on attacking even if they can't get past their high armor classes. You see, shadows only have a +4 to their attack, which is probably the saving grace for a party of adventurers. Number 6, wights. Since wights have an average human intelligence, int 10, and a longbow, it makes sense that they would open up with arrows from range whenever possible and use cover and corners to their advantage. Furthermore, when their life drain attack kills a creature, and wights love to kill the living, said creature is turned into a zombie under their control. Thus, I see wights as potential leaders of zombie minions and zombie hordes. They will certainly have a few zombies at their behest, and since they are intelligent creatures, wights will send their zombies in first to engage the characters in melee, and then the wights will open up from range with their longbows. Now, wights do possess the memory and drives of their former living selves, so this presents an opportunity for you to introduce something interesting into your games. Perhaps a family of farmers were killed, came back as wights, and now seek to create as many zombies as they can, putting them to work tilling the land and caring for their undead cattle. That is like an entire adventure right there. By the way, if you're finding this video helpful, please give me a thumbs up and leave a comment for the algorithm down below. Let me know what monsters you want to turn into undead. Zombie cockatrices, owlbear wights, mummy harpies. Number 7, specters. Now, specters can be played as cagey opponents, much like shadows, only with a twist. They can use their incorporeal movement to hide and get cover between their turns as long as there are objects or walls about. A specter moves through a wall, attacks, and then moves back through the wall. Sure, this might provoke an opportunity attack, but since they have resistance to normal weapons, this is something they're likely to risk. They're also not dumb creatures. They have an intelligence of 10. So when they're overmatched, they might just retreat to live another day and slay the next living creatures that come by. Or they might regroup, set an ambush somewhere else, and make another try at the characters. Number 8, Wraiths. Wraiths have an intelligence of 12 and are known as commanders of undead legions. They should be in charge and have other lesser undead that they are commanding. They might order their minions to their deaths, zombies and skeletons for instance, but they will likely flee before they are killed themselves. They will also use their minions to soften up the foes, and then the Wraith moves in to deliver killing blows, intending to kill the character outright. In their life drain ability, it says that the target dies if this effect reduces its hit point maximum to 0. Now, it can fly, so it should stay out of range, swoop down to attack vulnerable or nearly dead foes, and then fly back up out of range. And then it uses its create specter ability as soon as any foe dies. It's fairly intelligent, so it might order its undead minions to make sure that characters are dead by attacking them a few times after they drop to the ground. And then it uses this ability to create a new specter under its control. I know that's vicious and merciless, but hey, you know, undead are not fun, I guess. Now, if you'd like to get our undead templates or just want to support the content we create, I would love for you to become a DM Lair patron at the link below. You're gonna get lots of extra bonus content only for patrons and a new issue of Lair magazine every month. And if you're not able to become a patron now, that is totally cool. Please just continue to help yourself to all of our free resources, such as these 2 videos right here, or all of the free adventures, monsters, traps, and puzzles that we have over on the DMLair.com. Best of wishes, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video, even though you see me and I never see you.